Meanwhile, in Japan, they are planning to ban upskirting as part of a sweeping reform of sex crime laws. And just to be clear, they're going to ban upskirting because right now, in some cases, it's not. Now, not universally, there are bans in different places, but that's sort of the issue. So this bill is against photo voyeurism. It would prohibit acts such as upskirting and secret filming of sexual acts. Until now, such criminal cases had to be prosecuted under local prefecture laws, which greatly vary in scope. So the idea that, no, everybody dial it back. It's not that it was totally cool everywhere. It's just that in some areas it was a lot harder to prosecute and they needed to standardize it and raise the standard. So that is good. I am glad that we have gotten to that place. I'm not as good about the fact that we can so casually just use upskirting as a verb. Like I didn't have to define that for you. You just knew exactly what that was. And I think that says a lot about society. In any event, this bill is part of a wider overhaul of Japan's laws on sex crimes, which will also expand the definition of rape as well as make a number of other changes. So it explicitly prohibits the taking, distribution, and or possession of photographs of someone's genitals without their consent. So that's good, effectively fighting back against a variety of what's been colloquially termed revenge porn. It also criminalizes the act of taking photographs of people being manipulated without their knowledge into sexual positions. Again, the fact that that needs to be criminalized is okay. Changing at this late date. The bill bans the filming of children, quote, in a sexual manner without justifiable reason, which is a sentence that exists. I don't think there's a justifiable reason. I like to think that I can play devil's advocate for virtually everything, but I don't want to know what the justification is, but okay, they're changing it. In Japan, child models, mostly girls, are routinely portrayed in sexually provocative ways. For instance, some have been asked to pose in lingerie or swimsuits. And look, maybe I'm being pedantic. I definitely think that there's a difference between those two things. Theoretically, you could have a child pose in a swimsuit for an advertisement for children's swimsuits. There's no children's lingerie, or there probably shouldn't be. So I'm not sure why you would need the photos for that. Now, to be fair, glass houses and all that with the pageants that we have over here. And there have been a lot of scandals involving sexualization of children in advertisements and stuff like that. I'm not gonna rehash everything, but this is not a uniquely Japanese problem, just to be clear. And look, they're tackling it. So I guess that's something. Now, according to local media reports, photographs of athletes in sporting attire have sometimes also been used for sexual or malicious purposes. I don't know exactly what that means. I mean, if that means that someone's looking at them and using them for sexual purposes, I get the concept of that. I don't know what the malicious purposes are. I don't know if they're talking about blackmail or whatever, but basically we've waded into a very deep pool with a lot going on. By the way, also just throwing it out there, the age of consent in Japan is 13, which is the lowest of all G7 countries, although they have recently proposed they're raising it to 16. So what you basically are seeing is a fairly broad rebooting of their approach to a lot of different types of law. And I think, look, as someone who doesn't live in that country and doesn't have a lot of experience with it, it's easy for me to just say, well, why is it taking you so long to do this? And I will to some extent say that. But every country has problems. America certainly has a lot of really weird hangups and laws when it comes to stuff having to do with sexuality. So I will give them credit for engaging with this. It is difficult to make a lot of changes all at once, and it seems like a lot of these are probably overdue.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.